and design. We are going to continue looking at how to classically report the research that we want to do. We talked about the structure of a good classical report research, and we said the first component of classical research is the abstract. So today we are going to look at what is an abstract. We want to define the abstract. We talked briefly about the abstract last time, and we said it's like a summary, and this is the definition of an abstract is a short summary of your completed research. If done well, it makes the reader want to learn more about your research. So it's like a short summary of the research, and we want the reader, when they read our abstracts, to know what this research is really about, and to make them interested to continue reading the whole research. If we don't write a well-structured, a well-organized abstract, we may lose readers because they are not going to be interested. And today we are going to see some examples of a good and a bad or a poorly written abstract. So the abstract is a short summary, and here is the key word here, summary. It's like a summary, but it's a very short summary, and it's needed not to be longer than 1 page. So it should be around 200, 250, 300, 350 words, sometimes 500 words, depending on the requirements of your research. So it's a short summary of your completed research. And here is the other keyword. So number one, it's a summary. It's not too long. Number two, it's written after we complete the research. We cannot write it from the beginning, although it's placed in the very beginning, but we don't write it until we complete our research. If done well, it makes the reader want to learn more about your research. So here, number three, we want to increase their interest. We want from our abstract to increase the interest of the readers so they can continue reading the whole research. Imagine that you have a research of 100 or 200 pages. You need to have attractive abstracts to attract their attention. So it's a summary of the whole thing. After you finish the whole thing, you write this summary, and this is very critical and important. I stress on this. Why? Because some students or some researchers mistakenly tend to write the abstract from the beginning. No, it's a summary of the whole thing. After you finish everything, after you sweat all the pieces of your research, you start writing the abstract. It's important to note that the weight accorded to the different components can vary by discipline. For models, try to find abstracts of research that is similar to your research. Well, this is very important, that the weight of the abstract can be different from one discipline to another. For example, in linguistics, in applied linguistics, research on the English language might be different from mathematics, chemistry, and also the components of the abstract may vary from one discipline to other. So what is the solution? The solution is try to find similar abstracts, similar research, and then try to model them, not to copy them. We are going to talk about copy and paste later. This is called plagiarism. Plagiarism is let's say, is a big crime in research. Yes, seriously, it is a big crime, and we should not copy or paste other people's efforts. We have this culture spread in our world, or let's say in the Saudi context, or in the Arab world, that we tend to find things in easier ways, and one of them is just to copy and paste from Google, from forums, and we say, well, this is not a big deal. This is nothing. I just copied and paste. You just copied and paste other people's efforts. You need to exert efforts by yourself, especially in research. So this is why plagiarism is a taboo in research. Something should be avoided, and something forbidden and prohibited. So you can have some models from similar research to you. You go and try to model them, to follow their steps in order to write your own abstract. So this is one way, and I think this is the best way, just to benefit from other research. And this is why we call this is an accumulative knowledge. Research is an accumulative cooperation. It started from nothing, from past researchers, and then it developed, continued by different researchers until it reached us. Imagine the development of let's say computers. It started from nothing, and then we had different types of PCs until we have these different brands of PCs, Dell, Sony, HP, etc. And then we have these nowadays tablets, touch, these touchy computers or PC. So it's an accumulative knowledge. If you look to the past, it's going to help you in the future. It's going to help you in the current situation and in the future, and this is very important. And looking at the past is the third step in writing research, which is called literature review. So if you want to look at the past research, this is called literature review, and we are going to talk about this later. So if you want to write your abstract, try to look at similar research to yours, and then you can have a guide or guidelines to your abstract. Components of an abstract. Number one, motivation problem statement. We always start the abstract by stating the problem, which entails the objective of your research. Something like, well, this research is going to look at blah 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 blah. My study is going to look at the problem of blah 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 blah. This is the first step, the first component of your research. So you are going to tell in the first few lines why did you care about the problem, what practical, scientific, theoretical, or artistic gap is your research filling. So it's very important from the beginning you tell us why did you want to do this. I wanted, for example, to see how many students failing in the writing course. Why? Because there are too many students failing in the writing course. I wanted to look at them. So to phrase it in the abstract, you would say something like, this study is going to look at the factors accounting students' failure in writing. This is the first of its kind study to look at this in the Saudi context. So you tell us about the gap. And gap in research is a big is a big topic. We don't want to look at it, but let me mention something about it. In research, we always try to find gaps that haven't been filled before. Let's say that we have research in the Saudi context about students studying English language, and we know their problems in learning English, why they fail, and why they succeed. Okay, and then we have research about the future of these students. A study about, well, if they graduate from university, they have blah 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 jobs, blah 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 blah. But there is a gap between the two things. We know the reasons for their failure and success, and then we have a research about their careers or their jobs. But what is in the middle? There is a gap. So you can say, well, for example, I have a proposal, a research proposal, to link the two things. Well, failing students wouldn't be able to secure a job. Why? Because employers would look for the more successful ones, and you want to just link the two topics into one topic. This is just brainstorming, and always in research try to brainstorm to find a gap, and the more the gap is obvious, the more it is it's going to be interesting, and we always try to be unique. Repeating other research is not a problem. It's not a problem to repeat other people's research, but try always to find gaps that haven't been looked before. So in the first few lines in your abstract, you are going to tell us the problem statement, or the motivation of your the motivation behind your research, or the objective of your research. Second, you are going to tell us the methods, procedures, or the approach that you used in your research. After you defined your problem, you say, well, I used interviews, questionnaires to blah 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 to do the study. I analyzed them through quantitative or qualitative approaches. So in the second objective, you are going to tell us what did you actually do to get your results. For example, you analyzed 3 novels, completed a series of 5 oil paintings, interviewed 17 students. So let's say that you have 3 novels, and then you want to compare them. You are going to tell us, well, I analyzed the 3 novels, their names, blah, 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 blah. Or you would say, for example, I had 17 students. I interviewed them to know the reasons behind their failure or success in learning English language. So this is number 2, methods, procedures, and approach. The third component of an abstract, you are going to tell us the results, the findings, or the product of your research. As a result of completing the above procedure, number 2, as a result of number 2, you are going to tell us the results. What did you learn or invent or create? Yes, you might invent something new or create something new from your research. Or you just tell us what do we learn from your research, your recommendations, or the important results in your research. And number 3 is very critical, because some people tend not to tell us about their results in the abstract. Why? Because they want to leave it until the very end of their research. They just want to get us excited about the research. They think, well, I'm not going to tell you my results from the very beginning in the abstract. No, I'll leave it until the end, just to make some kind of thrill and suspense in the research. No, this is very, very, very wrong. In the abstract, you need to tell us your results. Don't leave it to the reader to reach your the end of your research. So you need to tell us the results from the beginning, and you don't need to tell us the everything that you found. Just the results that are that is targeting the main research problem. Let's say that you want to know the factors of affecting student learning English language. You are going to tell me only the factors, not everything that you found in your research. So just you mention the factors, no details. Just be very specific when you because you only have one page and 300 words or 350 words, so you don't have time to tell me the whole anecdote, just the main results. So here we have the main, not every little results. And then by the end of your abstract, you are going to conclude. You give us the implications. The implications, how are we going to use your results? And this is very important. It's not research is not about just you have a problem and then you have a solution. No, we want to implement your solution. Let's say that you found the reasons of failure, the reasons behind students' failure in learning English language. We want to treat these problems or these reasons for failures. We want to find solutions, how to implement the successful factors that successful students used in learning English language. We wanted to have some kind of implication. This implication. Conclusion, you would say, well, this study concluded by that we should look after poor students or weak students in learning English language, and that's it. No, you would say something, well, the implication of my study is that we want to, for example, have some intensive courses, some remedial courses, and etc. So the implication is important in writing an abstract. So what are the larger implications of your findings, specifically for the problem gap identify in step 1? So you see, we go back to the main problem, because you might have a main problem, but while research you would find other interesting results that you did not know about from the very beginning. And this is the usefulness of research. While research, you find more problems, you find more topics to research, you find more results, and your job is how to report all of these in a unified, well-organized, well-written research. So these are the components of an abstract. So you see this little mark, this is something to avoid. So you need to avoid these problems. You give what is really an introduction, missing out what the results were. So this is the point that I talked about just 5 minutes ago. You give us an introduction, and then you miss out the results. You tell us what each section of the write-up is going to talk about. In the third section, we will describe the method, not briefly what you did. The method we used was. So you see, here is a big difference between saying, well, in the third section, we will describe the method. In the fourth section, we will describe the results. In the fifth section, we will describe the conclusion. No, this is very wrong. This is completely wrong. You need to tell us what you did. You say, well, the method we used was qualitative in nature. We used questionnaires, we used interviews, we used blah, 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 blah. This is the way to write an abstract. You include wording that refers forward, like as we shall see. Again, it is not an introduction. It should read as referring back to the whole completed project. And this is very important. In the abstract, don't say, we will do blah, blah, blah. As we shall see, as we are going to look in section blah, blah, blah. No. Your abstract should read and should look as a summary that is written after the project, after your research was done. Okay? So let's see an example of an abstract. The factors accounting for the Egyptian AFL University students' negative writing effect. So this is the title of the research. So from the title, we know that we are going to talk about or to read about factors. Factors accounting for the Egyptian AFL University students' negative writing effect. So it's about the negative writing effect. So there are some negative factors that can affect the quality of your writing. From the title, we inferred this, but we need to read more. How? We need to read the abstract. This is the abstract. So let's read the abstract and see whether our first guess was true or not. I guessed from the beginning that it's about factors and it's about negative factors that affect students' writing. So this is my first guess, just from reading the research title. So let us read the abstract and see whether this is true or not. This study attempts to identify the factors that account for the Egyptian English major's negative writing effect. Well, this is similar to the title, because the title involves the research problem. For example, this means, for examples, their high English writing apprehension and low English writing self-efficacy. Apprehension means fear. Some students have some kind of worries or fear in writing in English for different reasons. Maybe because their English writing is poor, or because they don't want to expose themselves to other people. So they have some kind of apprehension. The subjects were administered 2 scales measuring their writing apprehension and writing self-efficacy. Then those students with scores falling into the extremes of the 2 scales were interviewed about their writing experience and background. To supplement the qualitative data obtained from the interviews, the subject scores on 3 linguistics tests used for measuring their English grammar and vocabulary knowledge were compared to their scores in the 2 scales. Analyzing both types of data showed that there are 6 causes of the subject's high English writing apprehension and 4 causes of their low English writing self-efficacy. Based on the results reached, the study presents some recommendations for writing instruction and suggestions for further research. What do you think? Do you think this is a very good abstract? Yes, I think so. Why? Because it contains the 4 or 5 components of a good abstract. It starts with the statement of the problem, the objective of the research. This study attempts blah 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 until here. So this is number 1, the first component. You see, the problem statement. So here is number 1, and then the subjects were administered two scales measuring their writing apprehension and writing self-efficacy. So two scales here means two questionnaires. Questionnaires. So two scales means here two questionnaires. So here's what here's the researcher is telling us the methods. How did he approach the problem? So he gave the students two scales, one to measure their apprehension and one to measure their self-efficacy. So this is one step in the methods he used. So this is, from here we start number 2, talking about the methods. Then those students with the scores falling into the extremes of these two scales were interviewed. So again, he used interviews, so questionnaires and interviews. So this is very informative. He's trying to inform us about all the steps, summarizing all the steps in his research in just, you see, one page. Interviewed about their writing experience and background to supplement the qualitative data. So he's telling us that he used qualitative data rather than quantitative data. So he didn't want to bother about numbers. He just wanted to explore the factors, accounting, justifying these factors. So you see, he is very good in describing the number 2 in the abstract components, which is the methods. So he used qualitative data obtained from the interviews, the subject scores on 3 linguistic tests. So again, he used 3 linguistic tests. Why? Because he wants to measure their English grammar and vocabulary knowledge. So you see, he used 3 instruments: questionnaires, and then interviews, and he used 3 tests. So you see how informative this abstract is. Very, very informative. And he didn't he didn't leave us lost in his abstract. He told us why he used the 3 linguistic tests, because he wanted to measure their English grammar, vocabulary knowledge. And he compared the results from the 3 tests with the results from the questionnaires and the interviews. Analyzing, so again, he moved from methods to data analysis now, and the results. So here is telling us the results. Analyzing both types of data showed that there are 6 causes of the subject's high English writing apprehension and 4 causes of their low English writing self-efficacy. One way to improve this abstract is to mention these causes if they are not, if they are clear, if they are misleading. If you think that mentioning the causes here is going to mislead the reader because of terminology or difficult words, well, it's okay not to mention them. Why? Because your main object is to attract your reader, not to keep them away. So here is the results. We have 4 causes for apprehension and 6 causes for apprehension and 4 causes for self-efficacy. And then from here we have the 4th step, or the 4th component. Based on the results reached, the study presents some recommendations for writing instruction to improve writing teaching. Instruction here means teaching. So he recommended some ways to improve writing teaching and also some suggestions for further research. And this is very important. And we need to talk about this later. Some would say, where can I find a research problem or a research topic? Well, by reading the previous research. Almost every single piece of research has a section of recommendations for further research or suggestions for further research. Researcher would say, well, I stopped here, I couldn't continue more because of time limit or space limit. I couldn't write more than 100 pages. Well, I need to stop my research here. You can continue this research from this point onwards. So this is a very good way to end your research with, suggesting more further research on the same topic or continuing the same topic. So we see we have the 4 components that we need in a good abstract. Here is an example of a poor abstract or poorly written abstract. Let's read it. It's not about English language. It's different, just to show you abstracts from different disciplines. Friends of Children helps underprivileged elementary school children. There currently is a need for after-school programs in Anywhere Parish. Like the one Friends of Children would like to provide, such a program will help at-risk children do better in school, learn important interpersonal skills, and become better citizens. The after-school program will target kids in Anywhere Parish and will operate after school on Monday through Friday in the local community center. Trained adults will provide homework assistance in all classroom topics, as well as provide games and fun activities. The objectives of the program are to make students better learners and improve their social skills and personal well-being. The impact of the after-school program will be evaluated by looking at students' grades and satisfaction with the program. Friends of Children is requesting $790 for this project. So from the abstract, we know the goal or the objective of this research. We need to establish an after-school program for the kids because blah blah blah. It's important, la 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 la. But it's missing what? It's missing a lot of the components of a good abstract. It's incomplete. We have the research problem, the research goals, but we don't have the methods that the researcher is going to use. He said something like, we are going to look at student grades and satisfaction, but this is not complete. You are going to look at the students' grades, but how you are going to establish the program? You would say something like, well, we need experts to come and design a program, design courses. We need a place for that program. It starts from blah, blah. A lot of specifications for that program needed to be established. How? How the researcher is going to establish all of these ideas and compile them to establish this center or this program. So looking at student grades and satisfaction is just one way to see whether students really want this program or not. If they want it, well, there is a next step. How you are going to establish this program. So the methods here is missing. We don't have results. We don't have conclusion, implication. So almost we have one component and a half. So this is a very or a poorly written abstract, and we can read a comment here about it. The poor example is incomplete. As we said, it does not provide the same level of detail found in the good example. Yes, we don't have the information needed. The whole picture was formed in the good example. We learned a lot of information, very detailed information regarding the good example. We knew about the instruments, their purposes. We knew that it was qualitative, blah blah blah. But in the poor example, missing a lot of information. This poor example does not grab the attention of the reader. Yes. Well, why do I want to read your research? It's incomplete. It's not attractive. It's not interesting enough for me. there is no good description of the need, the organization and its mission is not well defined. Yes, the mission of the program, the objective of the program is not well defined, and no basic details of the program are provided. Like I said, no basic details of the program. We need some basic details of the program. Well, the program is going to target blah, blah, blah to develop the kids' skills. So we see that it's very important in writing an abstract that we care about. We really focus on these 4 components in order to write a good example. This is it for today. I hope it was interesting, and wish you all the best in the next lecture. Next lecture we are going to talk about introduction and literature review. Wish you all the best. You can refer to the link from the first 2 lectures to prepare for the next lecture. Thank you for watching or listening, and wish you all the best.